The day I found out what my parents had been hiding from me for 3 years, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, completely still, because some betrayals are so deep, they don't hit you all at once. They sink in, slowly, like cold water filling a room. And what I'm about to tell you is one of those betrayals. Let me take you back to the beginning. My name is Sarah. I'm 29 years old, and for 5 years I was in a relationship with a man named Daniel. Daniel was charming, the kind of person who walked into a room and immediately made everyone smile. My parents loved him. My mother used to say he felt like the son she never had. My father used to take him fishing on weekends. But behind closed doors, Daniel had a problem: money. He was always borrowing, always between jobs, always 1 week away from turning things around. And I believed him. For 5 long years, I believed him. By year 4, I had paid off his credit card debt twice. I had covered his rent for 6 months. I had lent him money I never saw again. And the worst part? My parents knew. They saw it happening. And they told me, "Leave him, Sarah. You deserve better." So I did. At 26 years old, I packed my things, moved into a small apartment, and started completely over. It was the hardest thing I ever did, but I did it. For the next 3 years, I rebuilt my life. New job, new apartment, new me. And slowly, I stopped thinking about Daniel. Until one Tuesday afternoon in March, when everything I thought I knew shattered. My father had upgraded his laptop and asked me to help him transfer some files. Simple task. I sat down, plugged in the old computer, and started moving documents. That's when I saw a folder labeled simply D. I almost ignored it. Almost. But something made me click. Inside was a single spreadsheet. Column A, dates, starting from April 3 years ago. Column B, amounts, $200, every month, without a single gap. Column C, just 2 words repeated over and over. For Daniel. I stared at that screen for a full minute without moving. $200 every month for 36 months. That's $7,200 sent to my ex, the man they told me to leave, the man they called a mistake and a user, and someone who never deserved me. They had been sending him money the entire time I was healing, the entire time I was struggling in my new apartment, eating instant noodles to make rent. The entire time they were telling me how proud they were of me for moving on. I closed the laptop, walked to the bathroom, looked at myself in the mirror, and then I called my best friend. "I need you to tell me I'm not crazy," I said. I told her everything, and her first question was, "Does Daniel know?" That's when I realized I had no idea how deep this actually went. I spent that entire night going through everything I could find. Old bank statements my father had left in a shared Google folder, emails he had accidentally copied me on. And slowly, a picture started forming. The payments had started just 2 months after Daniel and I broke up, right when I was at my lowest point, right when I was calling my mother every night, crying myself to sleep. And there was something else. In one email thread from 2 years ago, my father had written to Daniel, and I'm reading this word for word, "We know this isn't easy for you either. Sarah made her decision. We just want to make sure you're okay. The transfer will come through Friday." Sarah made her decision. Like I was the one who did something wrong. Like I was the villain in my own story. I drove to my parents' house the next morning. I didn't call ahead. I didn't text. I just showed up. My mother opened the door with a smile. "Sarah, what a surprise." I held up my phone. The spreadsheet was open. Her face went white. "We need to talk," I said. "All three of us, right now." Before I tell you what happened in that living room, if you've ever had your family keep a secret this big from you, drop a comment below, because what my parents said next, I was not prepared for. Stay with me.
My father came downstairs in his robe. He saw my face, he saw my phone, and he didn't even try to deny it. "Sarah, sit down. Let me explain." "Explain?" I said. "Explain what, Dad? How you've been sending my ex money for 3 years? How you've been in contact with him this whole time?" My mother started crying immediately. That used to work on me. Not anymore. "We didn't want to upset you," my father started. "Daniel reached out to us after the breakup. He was in a really bad place, Sarah. He said he had nowhere to turn." He had nowhere to turn? I could barely hear my own voice. I had nowhere to turn when I was in that relationship. I was drowning and you watched. You told me to leave him. And then you went behind my back and became his safety net? My father looked down at his hands. "He said you broke up with him without warning," my mother said quietly. "He said he lost everything when you left." And there it was. After 5 years of watching Daniel drain me emotionally and financially, after 3 years of rebuilding myself from nothing, my own parents had believed his version of events over mine. "He manipulated you," I said, "just like he manipulated me." "Sarah, you don't know the full story." "What full story?" I asked. "What am I missing?" And then my father said something that changed everything. "Daniel is sick, Sarah. He has been since the beginning."
I sat down. My father took a breath and told me everything. 2 months after our breakup, Daniel had been diagnosed with a serious kidney condition. He needed ongoing treatment. He had no insurance, no family nearby, and apparently he had called my parents in desperation. Not because he wanted to get back with me, not to manipulate them. He had called them because, in those 5 years, they had been the closest thing to family he had. My mother pulled out her phone and showed me the original message he had sent them. It was not what I expected. There was no mention of me, no blame, just a man who was sick and scared and alone. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. "Because you were finally healing," my mother said. "You were finally okay. We didn't want to pull you back into his world." I sat there for a long time. Part of me understood. Part of me even understood their logic. They had watched me suffer. They didn't want me to feel responsible. But here's the thing. They made a choice for me, a massive, life-altering choice. For 3 years, they managed a secret that involved my past, my emotions, my healing, and they decided I couldn't handle the truth. That's not protection. That's control. I needed to make that decision myself, I told them, whether to help him or not, whether to even know. You took that from me. My father nodded slowly. "You're right," he said. "We should have told you. We didn't know how." I drove home without saying much else. And for the next 2 weeks, I didn't call my parents. Not out of anger, but because I needed to think clearly, without anyone else's feelings clouding mine. Here's what I concluded. My parents were not evil. They weren't trying to hurt me. They genuinely thought they were protecting 2 people they loved, me and someone who had once been part of our family. But their decision, however well-intentioned, was wrong, because love doesn't mean managing someone's reality for them. Real love means trusting someone with the hard truth, even when it's uncomfortable. As for Daniel, I thought about reaching out. I didn't. Not because I'm angry at him, but because that chapter of my life is closed. Whatever he's going through, he has people, apparently including my parents, who care about him. I eventually called my mother back. We talked for 2 hours. It wasn't easy, but we're working through it. The money? They've stopped sending it. Daniel apparently found a support program through a local hospital. And me? I'm okay. Actually okay. Not the kind of okay I told myself I was for 3 years. The real kind. Sometimes the biggest betrayals come from the people who love you the most, not because they want to hurt you, but because they didn't believe you were strong enough to handle the truth. I am. I always was. If this story hit you in any way, you know what to do. Drop your verdict in the comments. Was my parents' decision a betrayal, or were they just trying to protect everyone they loved? Subscribe for more real stories like this one. New video dropping soon. Don't miss it.